Funding provided by the Nebraska Humanities Council.
Burning, looting, rioting. Those seem to be the facts of life during the 1960s. Black neighborhoods throughout the northern and western United States burned. In Omaha, Nebraska, the black community was centered around North 24th Street, the near north side. It burned as well. The rioting robbed this community of its commercial vitality, its charisma, its very spirit. But it wasn't always like that.
There was nothing but businesses out here when you come to think about it. Everybody went down there. You met your friends, and they brought their children, and holidays, and beautiful memories.
24th Street was a viable thoroughfare, full of businesses, side by side. But there were small mom and pop businesses. There were numerous hardware stores, grocery stores, pawn shops. Whatever you needed was right there. Plus, the charm of that black community, the beer taverns and the clubs. Lots of live music.
This is North 24th Street today. Folks don't even venture down here much anymore. The stores are gone, and so are the people. For those who come here, the fear of drive-bys and muggings are always in the back of their minds. There are many reasons why this lively thoroughfare deteriorated, and it didn't happen overnight. However, the memory of it lives on in the hearts of those who once called this home. They know what North 24th Street was, and hope that it may become again a street of dreams.
I'm only one, but I am one. I cannot do everything. I cannot do everything. I can do something. But I can do something. What I can do. What I can do. What I ought to do.
Located just north of downtown Omaha, the near north side has always been a working-class neighborhood. One ethnic group after another came and left in the search of a piece of the American dream. In the 1880s, North Omaha became home to the Irish, Scandinavians, and Germans who found work in this rapidly expanding section of the city. By the early 1900s, the Italians lived here, as did Jews from Eastern Europe. Jews opened up businesses along North 24th and remained in the neighborhood for many years. By 1910, black families began arriving on North 24th Street, pursuing their dreams. Most were coming from southern states. In the South, the cotton industry was failing. The boll weevil in 1920, the African-American population in Omaha had more than doubled.
They came here for a job, better opportunity.
Negroes were not alone in their pursuit for a better life for themselves. Jewish immigrants were already well established along North 24th and had been for decades. Many of Eastern European descent, they fled their homelands where they were discouraged from practicing their religion, forbidden to own land, and were a constant target of anti-Semitism. Omaha was a good place to settle in. They formed a tight-knit community. Some even came from the same area. The congregation B'nai Jacob was made up mainly of people from one small town in Lithuania.
There was religious freedom, and they had a chance to be like anybody else. I mean, they weren't going to be oppressed. That the whole thing is, I think they ran away was from oppression. I mean, they from time immemorial, it was always, somebody was always out to kill the Jews.
Nate Schukert grew up along North 24th Street.
My father came to the United States in 1907. He was married in Europe, and his wife passed away, and my mother had been married too, and she had one son. And I don't know whatever happened to her first husband, but anyhow, they got together. Matchmaker, make me a match, you know. And they got together, and out of this great happiness, I came along.
Jews carved a niche for themselves along this busy thoroughfare. By the early 1900s, the street was known as Omaha's Jewish Miracle Mile. Thriving businesses of all kinds flourished. They catered to the ethnic taste and spending habits of the many nationalities that lived and worked in North Omaha.
At one time, there was about 8 kosher meat markets. There was probably 2 or 3 bakeries. There was 2 delicatessens. There was a bunch of little grocery stores. There were 2 or 3 fish markets, shoe stores, clothing stores, hardware stores. I mean, it was from 24th Street, from Cumming to Lake. I mean, it was a busy bee. Some had horse and wagons, and some had cars, and I'll tell you, everybody used to come. You'd come to 24th Street, they'd go to the bakery, then they'd go to the meat market, you know, and they'd go to the grocery store, and they'd go to the fish market, and everybody was involved in it. I mean, you know, blacks, whites, green, didn't make any difference. I mean, we were friends. I mean, you know, you could be mad, you could fight one minute and kiss the next minute. I mean, it was just, and we all felt that. We all just kind of belonged. It was just a family situation.
There wasn't any blacks or whites. They was all there together. We never thought nothing about that. We all played out there together, and I don't think that race bothered me, or I ever thought much of it as a child. I remember that the people that lived just around the corner were white. The people who lived over there was white. The people that lived up there.
Saw the world outside of North 24th Street. They started to get educated. And sometimes education changes things too, because then they came back, you know, and they said, oh, whoa, wait a minute here, you know.
As the country changed, so did the face of North 24th. No longer the home of several ethnic groups, it was now almost entirely African American. Most Jews left when the hard times ended.
During the Depression, people stayed where they were. But when the Depression was over and people started making more money, then they started moving into different neighborhoods. And some of the old-timers that had the stores on 24th Street that passed away, and either their kids didn't want their businesses anymore, and they would close down, you know, and they would move away.
24th Street had always been a place where people got started and then moved on. Other immigrants could change their names, drop their accents, and in this way, lose themselves in society. Black. But what change? And at what cost? The riots proved to be a bust for the economic vitality of North 24th Street. The number of businesses there dropped dramatically. Shop owners either moved or closed up for good, and there were no black businesses to fill that void.
Omaha never really had the local base of black shop owners, businessmen.
The priest here who says on his name tag, Lutheran Catholic Coalition.
Parishioners from 3 different faiths gather here to build low-income housing as part of the Habitat for Humanities project. Rabbi Azriel.
The pulpit of God is here, guys. It's not where the bricks and mortar is, and it's time for us clergy to realize by being here a whole week that this is where God wants us to worship, and you guys helped us to do it. Thank you. Oh, yeah!
I think many of us, though, who came up in the 60s or the 50s or the 70s, who were recipients of scholarships that our parents and our grandparents struggled, you know, to get so they could go to school,